Hi, welcome back everyone. So today I'll be going through 2024 P6 Science prelim exam question for Singapore Chinese Girls School. This is their question number 40 on forces. Okay, so a dry mop was suspended above the floor using a holder as shown in the diagram. So you can see this holder over here. There's two rounded clip to clip on the handle of the mop over here. Handle of the mop. And this is the close-up view being shown. Okay, so certain words, they are very important. Holder lah, handle lah, these are a few things that are more or less important. Okay, identify forces that prevent the mop from falling. Okay, so the key is you need to identify a force that prevent the mop from falling from the holder. So over here, it seems that the holder is holding the handle of the mop, preventing it from falling it down. So let's take a look. What are the four forces that you have learned? Okay, so you have gravitational force, you have frictional force, magnetic force, elastic spring force. Let's eliminate one of them one by one. Okay, over here, there isn't really any magnet involved. Okay, so no magnetic force. There isn't any spring, so no spring involved. And can it be gravitational force that is preventing the mop from falling down? No, because the gravitational force in this case is acting in this direction. Right? It's acting in this direction. Let me just draw it. It's acting in this direction. So when the mop, when the holder is holding the handle of the mop upright, it should be acting in an upward direction. So downward direction that's pointing to the floor will always be your gravitational force. So the upward direction will be your frictional force. Friction opposes the intended motion of the object, which is the intended motion is actually downward direction by the gravity. So over here, the force that we are looking at that prevent the mop from falling will be your frictional force. Okay, over here, frictional force. Okay, maybe I'll just write it here, frictional force. Okay, that will be represented by the upward direction. Okay, so over here, let me show it to you. You can just write frictional force or friction between the handle and the mop, handle of the mop and the holder. Okay, so both are fine, but I think this one will be the more straightforward answer. Okay, when the handle of the mop was wet, okay, the mop keep falling off from the handle. So they're trying to say here there is some water over here. Then the holder keep on falling it down. So in this case, the water, right, it must have somehow affect the frictional force. So as you know that water is a lubricant, it will reduce your frictional force. Okay, then therefore the gravitational force is now greater than the frictional force. It caused the mop to be pulled down towards the ground. That's why the mop actually fall off from the holder. Okay, over here. So the idea is water acts as a lubricant, reduces friction. Then this water is at where? At the handle. Okay, so this part. Okay, water on the handle acts as lubricant, reduces amount of friction between the handle and the holder. Okay, so these are the key ideas over here. Okay, so but before we go on to that, right, let me just break this down into the choice, evidence, and reasoning. Choice, evidence, and reasoning. So mop keep falling down will be your choice. Okay, the evidence is the water on the water on the handle. The reasoning will be lubricant reduces friction. Okay, so this one pretty clear cut. Is a CER question where the C is being given. Okay, so after the mop was used to mop the floor, the mop head was dripping wet, and the mop kept falling from the holder, although the handle was dry. Okay, so that means this got nothing to do with the lubricant anymore. Okay, based on this sentence, the handle was dry. Explain why is this so in terms of force. So they are trying to say that the mop keep falling down. Even though the handle is dry, the amount of frictional force is not being reduced. So you think about this. So the mop keep on falling down only when there is water on the mop head, So what happened is that the mop head, right, absorb part of the water. Then what happened to the mass? The mass will start to increase, right? So when the mass start to increase, the gravitational force acting on the mop, right, will also increase. So in other words, you can think about it as the weight of the mop increases. So it somehow is greater than the frictional force. That's why it caused the mop to actually slide down from the holder. Okay, so in this way, the main idea is being represented as this. The gravitational force is now greater than the frictional force. That's why it caused the mop to be pulled down. Okay, so let me show you this part how I really explain this. Okay, so the mop absorbed water increased in mass, so there was more gravitational force acting on it. It refers to the mop, so the gravitational force acting on the mop became greater than the frictional force between the mop and the holder. Okay, therefore causing the mop to be pulled down or to fall from the handle. So likewise, if the mop did not fall from the handle, it remained intact, it means that the frictional force is greater than the gravitational force. You can interpret it as this manner. So we are more or less done with this question. I'll just zoom in out and you can take a look over here. Okay, thank you very much.